We're live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra, in Kumasi on Love 99.5 FM. We are on KTU Radio in Kufuoredua, Bedering FM in Bunkrugu. We are on Radio Wa in Wa, ATL FM in Cape Coast. We are live on Facebook, we are on Twitter Spaces, and we are on myjoyonline.com. The midday news is sponsored by Petrol Sol, your clean fuel in full quantity. Petrol Sol is always a delightful experience. Also brought to you by Duraplus Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC pipes and water tank. Where Duraplus goes, water flows. This afternoon, caretakers of President Akufo-Addo's private residence at Chebi in the Eastern Region dismissed claims that portions of his garden was destroyed by illegal miners.
Not at all, not at all. The security are here 24/7. So how can the security be here and then we allow people to come in that we are coming to do galamsey? What is the purpose of the security being in the house?
Stay with me, I'll take you live there. Meanwhile, Supreme Court Judge Professor Henrietta Mensah Bonsu warns the continuous destruction of Ghana's environment by illegal miners poses an existential threat to Ghana's democracy.
Destroying water resources and putting poor communities living near rivers to the expense of living on sachet water, and the continued enjoyment of our democratic rights and freedoms faces an existential challenge.
We'll also hear from Lands and Natural Resources Minister, who insists he has the backing of the president despite recent allegations of high-level political involvement in illegal mining activities.
It will be scandalous, and it will be far-fetched, and it will be impossible for President Akufo-Addo to interfere in the fight against illegal small-scale mining. Indeed, on the contrary, he's the man who's giving me all the courage, who's giving me all the strength, who's giving me all the backing.
And as 2 out of the 3 taxes passed by Parliament last month to go into effect on Monday, traders say they will not bear the cost alone.
The rippling effect goes to the consumer. As a matter of fact, it's a cycle. And whatever tax that is being enjoyed by one will be given to the end user. And this is what is going to happen. So I can foresee that it's going to compound the inflation that we are even experiencing.
We have details as the Ghana Union of Traders Association say they are disappointed that government did not listen to their calls to halt the implementation of these taxes.
We are very disappointed the fact that we are not listening to, that all that we sought was for government to engage with us, so that if there could be any possible revision that we can give some respite for the businesses.
And sports.
Asafa Powell predicts major championship medal wins for Ghana's fastest man.
And much later in the bulletin, we'll tell you about the raga battle that took place when dancehall artist Stonebwoy visited football star Mohamed Kudus at his Ajax club.
Collect on your next album?
Possible, it just happens. It just happens, so we'll perform it at the big games.
I bring the joy and smile to the.
And much later, all is set for the Joy Corporate Worship 2023. And we'll tell you about the mega gathering of corporate Ghana in all businesses as we come to the Lord in worship, thanksgiving and supplication. This is your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. I am Emefa Apau. Please stay on for details. Thanks for choosing us. Let's get into our first story for this afternoon. And caretakers of President Akufo-Addo's private residence at Chebi in the Eastern Region have dismissed claims by former Environment Minister Professor Kwabena Frimpong-Boateng that portions of a garden at the place was destroyed by illegal miners. Professor Boateng's report on illegal mining states that a team had to be dispatched with excavators to restore the vegetation when he learnt of the president's garden had been invaded by illegal miners. I'll take you live to our Presidential Affairs correspondent Elton Brobe, who is at Chebi as we speak. Elton, have you seen the garden? Please paint a picture of how it looks to us.
So where I'm standing is actually the garden, and the garden is quite big, almost like 2 plots of land. The house itself sits on almost an acre of land, not up to an acre, but almost an acre. Let's say 3.5, close to an acre of land. Now, the president resident does not share, wall with any building, as I've come to witness. In fact, 2 thirds of the building has an asphalted road, which also has a police checkpoint from the entrance to the back. In fact, all around the house. Inside the house, you will find the building itself, which is not so big. But then most of the land in this residence is dedicated to the garden. The garden has palm trees, banana trees, and other trees that you can come to. In fact, a while ago, I spoke to a cousin of the president who's lived here in the last 30 years, and she tells me that some of the trees here, the trees have been in existence for close to 20 to 25 years. The garden itself doesn't look like a place that has been disturbed in the last few years. I don't have an expertise in mining, but from what I've been told by the security agencies here, since he became president in 2017, there's always been police, military, and immigration officers on station 24/7, and for that reason, it will be practically difficult for anybody to have access to the building without clearance. And for that reason, such an allegation that illegal mining took place here right on the garden of the president cannot be true. In fact, the garden is well trimmed with a lot of trees. I mean, you can liken it to the president residence of Nima. And from a layman point of view, there's nothing to suggest that there's been an activity of that sort. I've been speaking to the head of the household here and some people who live here, and they tell me that the allegation contained in the Professor Mpombwaten's document to the chief of staff cannot be substantiated.
Looking at the gate, why is the excavator going to pass to the house? So I think I can lead you to go around the whole place to see for yourself as to such this thing that he's complaining of has indeed taken place.
For how long have you worked in this house?
Oh, I've been here for almost about, 7 years.
7 years?
Yes.
So between 2020 and 2021, you were telling us that there was no point that illegal mining activities or illegal mining activity took place in this compound?
Not at all. Not at all. The security are here 24/7. So how can the security be here and then we allow people to come in that we are coming to do galamsey? What is the purpose of the security being in the house?
What about beyond the walls of the president?
Yes, I think we can fly even if a drone or any other to go around to see whatever that is around the surrounding. Nothing of that nature. There is a house that is just, at the back of the yard. And I think that place doesn't belong to the president.
So when we heard the news about the matter in question about the president's residence being turned into an illegal mining site, how did you receive it as member of the household?
I was very, very shocked, and I wonder why people with that high positions can bring themselves so low to that extent of telling lies. And I see it to be a serious propaganda, and I don't see what sense in it that there is a house here and then with the trees here up to this stage, and I don't know how we will be able to dug the gold, remove the trees, and then brought the trees back again. So the trees here speaks for us, and I don't think we have to. Yes, the trees here and the surrounding itself speaks for us.
Let me also engage some members of the party who are here. We have so many people accused of undertaking illegal mining in this compound. What is your response to it as treasurer of the party?
It's a very big lie, because currently I don't know the type of youth organizer or the youth organizer they are talking about. According to the report, the case came out around 2021. Is that not it?
Yeah.
But then the youth organizer then wasn't a galamsey operator or was not involved in a galamsey. But then I was the deputy youth organizer for the constituency. And my boss was Kofi Asaribu too. He was not engaged in galamsey.
Is he now engaged in galamsey?
No.
So Elton, you've spoken to the cousin, the caretaker, and the party. They all insist that the garden was never destroyed in the first place. I'm sure you've been engaging residents as well. What have they been telling you?
Well, in fact, there's anger and there's disappointment. In fact, some of them are calling on Professor Mpombwaten to come again, review whatever document he delivered to the chief of staff, and then retract and apologize, because according to them, they find it insulting that the president, who has vowed to address the issue of illegal mining, will rather allow his compound to be turned into a site for illegal mining. And their demand is that there should be a retraction and apology, or Professor Mpombwaten should back his claim with evidence. But from what exists actually, according to them, there's never been an issue, even though they concede that the issue of illegal mining is quite ripe in some parts of the Eastern region. It's something that the Otchihene, who himself is an environmentalist, and the president are working hard to bring it to under control. And for them to be dragged into this matter is not something that they accept.
That's our presidential affairs correspondent Elton Brobe. Get back safe, and he has pictures and videos all on our social media platforms, also on myjoyonline.com. We'll stay a while longer on mining related matters because the Supreme Court judge Professor Henrietta Mensah Bonsu is warning that the continuous destruction of Ghana's environment by miners poses an existential threat to Ghana's democracy. This is because the nation is forced to utilize limited security resources to contain the situation, making the country vulnerable to external threat. The talk concerning illegal mining is back on the front burner. We know following that explosive report on alleged high-level political complexity stifling the fight against illegal mining. Well, Professor Mensah Bonsu has been speaking on illegal mining at the 2023 Agri-Fraser Gaggisberg Memorial Lecture at the University of Ghana.
Poorly regulated exploitation of natural resources by foreign interests to the exclusion of locals. The unbridled activities of local adventurers in exploiting local resources and forcible suppression of same by state agents. Threats to the environment in terms of air and water pollution, destroying water resources, and putting poor communities living near rivers to the expense of living on sachet water. All these have raised the level of discontent in various parts of the country and put pressure on the state's already inadequate security capabilities. Ghana, this is a situation Ghana can ill afford, and the continued enjoyment of our democratic rights and freedoms faces an existential challenge. Therefore, we need to find the resources to fund counter-terrorism measures to stave off the threat.
Well, the government is fighting off claims that the battle to end illegal mining has been lost. Lands and Natural Resources Minister Samuel Abujinapo insists he has the backing of the president despite recent allegations of high-level political interference. He's been speaking to pressmen on the sidelines of a national youth conference on national resource and environmental governance.
The presidency headed by President Akufo-Addo will not countenance that. The president will not countenance any interference. If there's one person who's been committed to this fight against illegal small-scale mining, it is President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo. I've worked with him closely, and I mean closely, and I do know that his commitment to this fight is totally unflinching, and indeed it will be scandalous, and it will be far-fetched, and it will be impossible for President Akufo-Addo to interfere in the fight against illegal small-scale mining. Indeed, on the contrary, he is the man who is giving me all the courage, who's giving me all the strength, who's giving me all the backing and authority and mandate to go frontal in dealing with this matter. But I want to repeat again, I think it's important that I repeat, that we have to be focused. We have to be focused. We are dealing with life and death issues here. Ghanaian people are losing their lives as a result of illegal small-scale mining. Our river bodies have been polluted. We as we speak, we literally cannot boast of a river body which we can confidently say that this is a river body which is fit for purpose.
Well, we can also hear from the Director of Accountability Now, a South Africa-based civil society organization, Paul Hoffman, who says the President of Ghana must not disregard the revelations in Professor Frimpong Boateng's report.
Well, your problem is that you already have a report from Professor Boateng, I think it is, and that report has been sat upon by government, which suggests to me that government does not have the political will to address the problems, and they are manifestly robbing ordinary Ghanaians of the revenue that would, in normal circumstances, flow from mines, and robbing ordinary Ghanaians of an environment that is not harmful to health and well-being. So until your president takes the matter seriously and addresses that report, which seems not to be his position at the moment, we are going to continue to find that in Ghana, illegal mining, which we have in South Africa too, we call them zama-zamas, you've got your own word for them, and the answer is to take a look at that report that you've already got. I think it's more than 35 pages long, and it needs to be turned into an action plan to bring an end to illegal mining, because it's killing your economy, it's killing your environment, and it's doing your country no good at all.
Well, later on State of Play, our politically incorrect show on social media, we're focusing on illegal mining, and Professor Kwabena from Pomboatin's report. Evans Mensah, one of the big heads on the show, joins me in studio.
One of the three heads, indeed.
Okay, all right.
So, as you said, this is politically incorrect, so we're not going to be nice about it. So we're asking a simple question, and we're titling it the government Galamsey Mafia.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you believe? Do you believe Professor Frimpong Boateng, or you believe the presidency? We've had two sides of this. We're asking our audiences to join us in assessing that, and we've put it up on social media already. You can see it on all our social media platforms, Facebook, etc. Exactly. People are already chipping in what they believe, and then we'll pronounce our own verdict on the subject. So you want to join us? It's 2:30, and it's going to be on Twitter. It's going to be on Facebook, and it's also on YouTube.
And myjoyonline.com.
And myjoyonline.com as well.
We can't miss that today. It's at 2:30. Thank you very much, Evan. So see you later. Well, later this afternoon also, consumers are being told to brace for a hike in the prices of selected goods as the Excise Duty Amendment Act goes into effect on Monday, as well as the Income Tax Amendment Act. Well, these two taxes were passed by Parliament together with the Growth and Sustainability Act, despite fierce resistance by the minority in Parliament and industry. According to an implementation guideline published by the Ghana Revenue Authority, companies have been giving up to the end of this month to configure their system to ensure the implementation of these taxes. But Guta says they will pass on the cost to consumers. We'll hear from them shortly. But first, Parliamentary Affairs Correspondent Kwekwa Sante joins me with details. But of course, let me rather bring in Joseph Akable with details of that. Joseph, so what does this implementation directive say?
And so it reads, the Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority wishes to notify the general public that following amendments to the tax laws that have been duly passed and assented to by the President of the Republic, first, the Excise Duty Amendment Act, secondly, the Income Tax Amendment Act, and finally, the Growth and Sustainability Act, effective date of implementation is 1st May 2023. So this is to enable companies configure their systems by 30th April to ensure seamless business transactions. GRA will provide administrative guidelines and practice notes on the implementation of the amendments in due course.
Well, let's remind ourselves about the details of these taxes.
So the excise duty imposes a 20% tax on mineral water, non-alcoholic beer, energy drinks, fruit juices, and other alcoholic drinks. There will also be a 50% tax on spirits, including akpeteshi, cigarettes, and e-smoking device, and is projected to rake in about 400 million cedis annually. For the Income Tax Amendment Act, it provides that winnings from betting, lottery, and games of chance will now be subject to a 10% withholding tax at the point of payout. And also 20% income tax has been introduced on the gross gaming revenue of betting, lottery, and gaming companies. And so those who will be watching a football match later today, Manchester and the rest, if you stake a bet and you win from May 1, you have to do the deduction.
Okay. Well, as now supporters wouldn't have to do that. Well, thank you very much, Joseph Akable, for saving the day. But we can now hear from President of Guta, Dr. Joseph Obing, who says businesses will pass on the cost to the consuming public.
The business that we do not do in isolation. We do with the consuming public. So whatever affects the business community, the rippling effect goes to the consumer. As a matter of fact, it's a cycle. Whatever tax that is being enjoyed by one will be given to the end user, and this is what is going to happen. So I can foresee that it's going to compound the inflation that we are even experiencing, and then the plight of the consuming public. Yeah.
Now, the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission has disclosed that preliminary monitoring report on 58 institutions has estimated that about 22% of their wage bill is unearned salaries. In other words, the money ends up in wrong pocket. Well, this development emerged from an ongoing nationwide payroll monitoring exercise to expand existing anomalies and fraud in the public sector payroll. The exercise, according to the Commission, is to save the country an estimated 10 billion cedis annually from unearned salaries. We can hear from the Chief Executive of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, Benjamin Nafa.
For us, the issue falls down to those involved and the individuals who have gotten the unearned salaries. Of course, some of them might have been done in error. So the key reason and motivation is basically to ensure that there is fairness. So definitely, if you've taken anything undeserving, we will want to take it back. If there is something that you deserve which has not actually been given to you, especially even when it's been determined for you, we will equally ensure that that is also corrected. So basically that is that. If it borders on criminality, definitely we have institutions to deal with the matter, and we shall accordingly refer to those institutions for further action. But as far as we are concerned, it's basically to ensure that what has been determined is what is being applied.
This is the Midday News. You're on Joy 99.7 FM in Accra and Kumasi. We're on Love 99.5 FM. We're on Bedering FM in Bunkrugu. We're on KTU Radio in Koforidua, Radio Y in Wa. We're live on Twitter Spaces. We're on Facebook, myjoyonline.com. It's brought to you by producers of quality PVC pipes and water tank, where Duraplast goes, water flows. Also brought to you by Petrosol, your clean fuel in full quantity. We've been talking about caretakers of President Akufo-Addo's private residence at Chebi in the Eastern Region dismissing claims that portions of his garden was destroyed by illegal miners. Also, the Asantehene Otumfo say to the second celebrates 24 years on the 2-1 return from the break. I'll tell you more about that. And also, we'll tell you about the Raga battle that took place when dancehall artist Tomboy visited football star Mohamed Kudus at his football club in Ajax.
Them don't get the cancer, me the answer. When me pass through is a bonanza. Chidi and loading the tank, and I want to leave.
Collect on your next album?
Possible, it just happens. It just happens. So we'll perform it at the big games.
I bring the joy and smile to the face.
And all is set for Joy Corporate Worship.
I never knew you favor me this way. You've turned my life around. I've been alone. That's right,
Thanks for staying with us. Let's do sports. Michelle.
We are doing some athletics, and Asafa Powell is back in the country. He's here for Sports Equity Labs Maximum Velocity Speed Summit. It's a 4-day event which is currently ongoing at the University of Ghana. And yesterday was day 2, where they had a max velocity speed clinic for some of Ghana's young athletes and coaches. And that was where Asafa Powell mentioned that he tipped Benjamin Azamati, Ghana's fastest man, to win a medal at one of the global championships, be it the Olympics, World Athletics Championships, or even the Commonwealth Games. Azamati has raced at all of these platforms. The closest he's come to a world medal was at the 2022 Commonwealth Games, where he finished 4th in the 100-meter final. And he's won a lot of stuff individually, but at that world stage, he's yet to do that. But Powell believes he's not far from it.
He's very talented, and you see for yourself that I'm sure he was running when he was in Ghana, but he wasn't getting to that level. And then he left and go to the US, and then all of a sudden he's running fast. So you can imagine if you have that same the same coaching here, the same attitude here in Ghana, you would be making a lot of stars in Ghana.
So what's his ceiling? As a medal potential?
Yeah, definitely. Once you're running sub 10, you're definitely in medal. You're in it to win a medal.
Thank you.
All right, so let's see how it goes. Big ups from Asafa Powell to Benjamin Azamati. And that's all for sports. Well, I've done Arsenal, but first, Smith is so close to me.
Thank you very much, Michelle. Let's do politics now. An incumbent MP for Adentan constituency in the Greater Accra region, Mohamed Ramadan Adamu, is facing a fierce contest from 2 other aspirants, including former Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Nii Abossey, in the upcoming NDC parliamentary primary slated for May 13. Well, according to the aspirants, they have engaged the delegates and are convinced of victory. Samuel Mbura from our political desk has more.
Incumbent MP for Adenta constituency, Mohamed Adamu Ramadan, has already declared himself a winner of the primaries and goes further to pledge his support for John Mahamed's candidature.
On the 13th of May, I would plead with you, let us all go, let us take the ballot papers and let us observe, let us keep our eyes at the top, let us all listen to what the scripture says. The scripture tells us that I and my father are one.
But he's facing a stiff contest from former Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Nana Oyebampo, and Linda Asibiawuni, an engineer by profession and a first-time contender, according to Nana Oyebampo, who is contesting the primaries for the second time after losing to the incumbent in the 2019 primaries. She has the integrity and vast experience to lead the NDC.
Nana Oye is honest and has the integrity and has worked, has a vast experience. I'm here to procure jobs for the youth in Adenta.
On her part, Linda Asibiawuni believes responses from the delegates have been positive because her message resonates with the people.
Our message has been well received. I believe that what we are selling to the people is a campaign of action and not promises. So it's something that the delegates of Adenta have been well pleased in.
Meanwhile, Constituency Secretary of the NDC, Larry Akins, says all is set for the elections and they will ensure all the aspirants are given a level playing ground.
We are poised to make sure we'll put everybody on the level playing ground so that, whoever wins, there wouldn't be any issue.
Well, I'll take you to the Ashanti region now, and the Asantehene Otumfuose to the second is just a year away from commemorating his 25 years anniversary on the Golden Stool. Well, his leadership in mediation and brokering peace, as well as interest in educational development, are among the most celebrated. We can hear from cultural historian teacher Safo Kantanka, who says the Asantehene has achieved a feat in his 24 years as the Asante king.
Otumfuo the Asantehene is 24 years old on the Golden Stool. He has undoubtedly achieved a lot for Asante, Ghana, and Africa. Outstanding among his achievements are the way and manner he handled the case of Dagbang, which earned him the subsequent King Solomon, and his offer of many scholarships to Ghanaians, home and abroad, without looking at which ethnic groups they belong to. Long live the king, long live Ghana.
Now, football star Mohamed Kudus has never hidden his love for Stoneboy's music. The dancehall act visited Kudus at his football club, Ajax Amsterdam. Listen to what transpired when Ajax TV caught up with him.
We built a relationship since from Ghana and we're here, so the work keeps going.
He's talking like he just scored a goal.
Most of the songs I relate to the lyrics, so yeah, most of his songs are spiritual to me, and
Yeah. Your music is really popular now in the dressing room.
Yes.
Right? Thanks to Mo. How's that for you?
Yes, I do not take things for granted. I'm one of the people who see things from different perspectives. I respect him and I thank him for actually adding his power, his brand power, to actually elevating the same sound that elevates him. It shows a lot of people where we are from. It makes them want to know our story. It makes them want to come even to Ghana to come and check our music, to come and check our culture.
Top skanker, top skanker. We shut down the place and the whole of them know that he's top skanker, top skanker.
And can't cool, can't quench. Watch out, man at the top skanker. Accra to Sri Lanka, Tivoli, Jamaica. Flank at them, see me as a kaka.
It takes me back to my raga days, but that's for another time. But all is set for Corporate Worship 2023. And programs manager Edem Naite joins me in the studio to tell us all about it. What are we to expect?
We are going before God tomorrow, 6 p.m. at the Royal House Chapel, to worship him, to praise him for how good he has been to us, and also use the opportunity to make supplications unto him, pray for him to be able to help sustain our businesses. And when you say corporate worship and you talk about businesses, people think that is just for big corporate organizations, but no, once your hands have found something doing and you're grateful to God for, we are asking you to come and pray, come and worship God, and let's together ask him to continue to bless us. So it's happening tomorrow, 6 p.m. Royal House Chapel. That is where we'll be. MOJ will be ministering, Celestine Donko will be ministering, ministering, the Royal House Chapel choir will be ministering, and all that. So we are asking all of you to come and join us
and the
tomorrow.
multimedia choir, how we ministering? Okay.
You
Well,
and
is
I
it
will
for free?
minister.
Yes. Is it for free?
It is for free. You're
Okay.
not paying anything. So you just walk in tomorrow, and then we are all there to worship God in
What are
big
you
style.
waiting for? Please join us tomorrow at the Royal House Chapel. Thank you very much, Adam Nighty. And that's how we get out of here in this package of the Midday News. There's more when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Galamsey, Jubilee House now a crime scene. That's according to Sami Jemfi. Africa needs high-speed connected road network, Ekofado. You can read more on myjoyonline.com. Living Word is up next with Pastor Mensa Otabil. Please stay.
If home is where the heart is, then let's go home, shall we?